Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the IBM code pattern, Lagom integration with IBM Cloud Object Storage. This whole README is pretty straightforward for the most part. Basically, you download the code base, you run it locally, and the only thing that I find a little bit confusing is about the object storage configuration. And I'm gonna mostly talk about that part for now. So in this code pattern, we're gonna utilize IBM Cloud Object Storage. Now, we provide links here in the README, but if you ever Google, you're gonna land probably in two places that has Cloud Object Storage, and they look similar. So one is this Cloud Object Storage Service. This is an offering based on the infrastructure S3 storage. And the other one is the IBM Cloud Infrastructure itself that has the storage S3 style storage. The reason I bring this up is because in this configuration file, in the old code sample that we are using, it is based on infrastructure. However, we're not going to use infrastructure in this code pattern because infrastructure A is a little bit more expensive, and B, it requires provision, while this service is instantaneous. You can just order it and it's going to be ready. There is a link on the service page trying to compare the different versions. So it says looking for our infrastructure or Swift object storage offerings. So there are different types of storage offerings, and you can click to it if you are interested. But basically the difference is, as a service type, you are able to bind it to other services. Like if you have a Cloud Foundry app, you want to bind it, you can directly use it instead of writing the code and do it from scratch. So that's the difference. And here we're going to go through the process of setting up your Cloud Object Storage. So here is the first landing page. If you're logged in, you have to log in, have a paid account. And then let's give it a name. Let's call it Lagom test. And make sure it's a standard. If you don't have it before, you can have a light plan, but I have it, so it only allows one light plan. So I'm going to create this service. And it's ready. So now we're going to create a bucket. Here is a create bucket button, and we call it Lagom bank bucket, and we make it cross region. There are regional and single site and cross region, so the default is cross region to help you to prevent any failures. And we create this bucket, and that's straightforward, right? So now here's the interesting thing. Let's go back here. So it says you need to provide these information, right? The bucket name we just said is Lagom bank. And then you need to actually provide a host. We're going to check this. This is my previous link, which is the endpoint, access endpoint. And then you need access key ID and access key secret. So here's a part that's a little bit different using the service versus infrastructure. Is in the service, when you're creating these buckets, let's take a look at this one. You have security. So this is a place that it has. Oops. All the information about your buckets and so here's the access and permission. Okay. And here you have the keys, the key ID and secret. Okay. Now this service, though, it is a little bit different. That you are because it's meant for service binding. It's using IAM tokens for authentication. However, you're allowed to generate your own certificate, and here's how. So you click service credentials and new credentials. Let's say I'm gonna do a credential test and select ID. I'm gonna say auto generated, and I'm gonna generate it. Okay. Now you have this, and let's take a look at it. So basically, it has nothing mentioning the secret and the key ID, because this is meant for the token. So let's delete this. So here's how we do it properly. We give it a name. We say it's credential Lagom. And here in the parameters, we put something important. We put this tag, which is going to give us the Amazon AWS style S3 authentication, which has a key and a secret. So that's the trick. If you were using infrastructure, it came automatically. With the service, you have to specify this parameter in the configuration. And now we have it, and let's take a look. Yeah, see, here is the access key ID and secret keys. Okay, so let's copy these things over to the configuration. And the endpoint, let's double check. Endpoint would be And we are ready. So here we just run this Maven Lagom run all. Now I have run it before, as you can see from the screen. I have run it before, so it behaves a little bit differently. So the difference is I have run all these curl commands, which is on the README file. All these curl commands are here. I have run those, and the results are saved in the Cassandra locally. So when I start the process, it's going to automatically retrieve the information from Cassandra, and then because it has five operations, it's going to generate a transaction, and that's when it's going to talk to the object storage. So if you're doing it for the first time, you have to do these steps to trigger that transaction. So the local operation has to be accounted for 5 times before it goes to the object storage. Takes a while. Now services just started. And here you see we have extracting, saving, all the transactions going on, being recorded, on the storage side. So let's take a look. Buckets. We have a bucket. And see, we have all the details here. If you want to, you can run queries using SQL queries to retrieve the data, but here I'm just happy to see that the connection has been going through. So that's pretty much it. Now when we are done with this, we press enter, and it's gonna shut down everything and exit gracefully. And that's it for this demo. Hope you enjoy.